And there's several different parts to the answer. Number one is there's some people who are in the plumbing business, right? They make the pipes and that sort of cause things to happen. For example, Google with their Bard, or OpenAI with ChatGPT, or there's a whole bunch of other companies that they just make the pipes, and their business model is very simple. You pay $20 or $15 or $10 a month, and you get access to this tool, which can then help you be more efficient. So that's how they're going to make the money. With respect to a lot of these SaaS products, software as a service products, for example, a piece of software that does SEO for websites, and many businesses use that. Well, what if they built some AI SEO into their product, so their product was more effective at achieving its particular goal? That's kind of the second part of the answer. And pretty much everybody in the software space right now is sort of working on that particular thing, which is why there's so much out there. The third part of that is there's certain types of software that can only exist for the first time because of this. So for example, there's software that I could be talking here in English, okay, and it can translate what I'm saying and move my mouth so that I'm speaking in Spanish or a whole bunch of other languages. And so that can create a video, and that video can then be broadcast using the system to a whole bunch of customers, etc. So there's some net new things that are happening because of this particular tool. And the fourth is really where the majority of companies can make money doing it. In some ways, it's a question of how do we become more, cheaper, faster, more creative by doing the things we're already doing. So fine if you've got an inbound marketing program as an organization, you're punching out blogs and white papers and content and everything so that people can find you, just as an example. You could be a lot more efficient at doing that. And I've got a lot more to say about whether that's good or not, but that's certainly one way. You use it for ideation, for example. What's more exciting, frankly, is the idea of using this to actually change the nature of the organization or the industry itself. So for example, that product, that barley product example I gave, if you're a food processing company, how many weeks or months of time would it take for somebody to do the research on all those different products and figure out which is the most efficient to produce and uses the least number of recipes and so on? I mean, this is just absolutely a massive time saver, and something that's core to, say, food processors business. So I would, whether it's accounting firms or law firms or professional associations or small businesses, I think that if you start to say, how might our different, what if something, then how might our business be different if we actually incorporated that one way or the other? I think part of the problem is many businesses don't know what they don't know. And the reason why is they haven't been rangers and scouts out there sort of experimenting, or they haven't spoken to somebody like me or had a bit of time to sort of ask and just bounce around the what if questions. I think sometimes management teams are rightfully very concerned about the risks. They say, nope, we can't do this, we can't do this. Or others are concerned about, hey, listen, we already have our day jobs. We just don't have time to actually be doing some of this exploration. All valid reasons. However, I'd suggest that you probably could have a net positive by having some efficiencies, which would then increase the amount of time where you can do some of that ranger and scout exploration, or you spend a couple bucks with somebody like me, okay, and shortcut it. Right, so those are the big answers to it. I'll also just add one other thing, John, and the one other thing is in your particular business, which I happen to know, which is all about as a financial advisor, there's some things that the big institution, the enterprise, can do, but you're actually running a small financial advisory practice that you have to work within, but you can also have a certain degree of flexibility in terms of what you do, right? It doesn't mean that, for example, every time that you do a market, you do some sort of market analysis, that you've got to take exactly what's given to you. Sometimes what you can do is you use ChatGPT and say, how do I make this into something that my such and such customers would understand more? How do I make it at a grade 7 level, not grade 10 level? How do I compress this into 2 paragraphs from my email? How do I expand this? And of course, you're not just going to copy paste it into whatever you're going to do, but it might save you a significant amount of time and be more effective as a communicator, just as an example. Another thing, if you're actually doing some of the stock picking, you might be able to use some of the tools that are out there to go across a huge chunk of the market and play being an analyst yourself. Why? You could use some of the systems to say, okay, what other stocks meet this kind of criteria? In the olden days, yeah, you can use specific searches on the various tools that say, I want EBITDA of this, and I want this industry, and I want this and this and this. But the wonderful world about AI is got fuzzy logic. So it may identify some which you may then want to check back with your analysts to say, okay, what do you think of this one or that one?